After the battle, the Prince of Adair showed up in Lakenhearth, and my sister Galwinia gave us an offer we did not quite know what to do with. And while we couldn't make good on an assassination attempt to throw Gilbrain into complete chaos, Ionis did manage to somehow convince Adair, Prince Adair, and Crispin the Decent to leave town and get Lakenhearth back into the hands of Florn and ourselves. I know not how long it will last. It could be quite brief. For a moment, the town seems happy with the results of everybody departing. And we may, if Despo comes through on her deal, we may have a bit of an army on our side. Are you ready for the dungeon, dads?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Heroes rise, heroes fall. I see 'em on the front line, standing tall. They're risking life and limb to answer the call. But what they fighting for? Don't know, don't care. Just along for the ride, but everyone must stand. I'ma make sure I'm gonna win inside.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast, episode 66 of the Dungeon Dads. Welcome.
66.
Oh, my goodness. We are we 13 now away? 13 short episodes away from the end of this campaign.
You gotta tell us. You gotta tell us.
Hey,
Tom.
we
don't know.
23.
We don't
That's
know.
23. As always, I'm your DM, Tom Blaylock, and I'm joined today by John Watson playing the wizard Ionis Silhavine. What's up, John?
What's going on? I'm ready to do something. I don't know.
Do something. It's time. It's time. That was a big something you just did. I have to say, and I know we covered this a little bit in the bonus, but like, I am really bummed out I didn't get Florin killed in that last episode. I think
Wait a second. You
Lauren
told
was
us he
trying
was
his
going to
hardest,
win.
man.
Yeah, that's right.
he was gonna win, but I was gonna just have a slod kill him. I think in the end, it's like I think it's time to cry a little bit.
Oh well, I couldn't let him be a murderer. I didn't want us to be murderers, and I didn't want anybody to die.
That's
It's
good.
too
I was
late for that, though.
I know, it's
66
like, what are you
episodes
doing?
in. There's been some murder.
There has been.
Yeah.
That is true. I consider it self-defense.
You guerrillaed out and killed 30 guys on a bridge. Like
It's
I
war,
don't know.
man.
Like
No, but they were trying to kill him.
They were trying to
that's
kill.
true.
They were trying to kill
Okay.
me. I'm just saying.
okay.
We have never taken the initiative and just outright murdered any. Wait, oh shit.
Yes. I'm thinking of one particular large whale's penis. Tim Carr, two sheets into the wind.
Oh, yes. I've
playing
had a giant beer and a half at sushi dinner before coming here tonight. But
that's so good.
it'll be good
That's so
times.
good. It's gonna be really good. Phil near Omajira, and Sam Frank, back from surgery. His eye is blind and he looks crazy.
And yet, I
like
see
he's
so
freaking
much.
me out. Playing the
He's the blood
vampire.
Lord, right? The
Yeah,
blood
he
Lord.
is these blood.
Man, just getting my kicks in episode 66.
Yeah.
Schnobik the bastard.
It was funny listening to Tim's cold open being like, wait, someone was happy with something we did? That's a new one for us.
Well, I have a lot that I want just to remind you. And there were little clues that I dropped that I will remind you about, even though they maybe didn't pop in your mind during that last episode, because I think there's some things that are going to play out and might end up being important. You all did engage Galwinia's well-digger assassins to kill Harold Two Hands, Prince of Adair, Seaman of the Western Seas, and Conqueror of the Most Fertile of Harkness, though you did not end up doing it. Right before the assassination could pop, Florn called out Crispin the Decent for a duel in the Lakenhearth Square, by invoking the Mercenary Pact of 769, which apparently affords chiefs and mayors of Adaran-controlled towns and villages the status of general officers in the army. So I think that's something to remember. Write down that Mercenary Pact of 769. You may want to invoke it yourselves at some
Write that
point.
down, Tim.
Yeah, Tim's writing it
I'm
down.
on it.
The guy with 2 beers. Come on, Sam.
Sam doesn't take notes now. Come on.
No, he doesn't ever take notes.
I give notes.
As as Crispin is rising from the table to go out and meet Florn in the square, that's when Ionis cast his magical persuasion. That was a mass suggestion, right?
Yeah, mass suggestion. Yep.
To cause the prince and most of his retinue to get up and head back to the siege camp, which is 15 miles down the road. So the bit about Despo Goodshower, important to remember. I think I threw out 3 different numbers of the number of troops. I'm just going to clarify that. It's 450 troops.
Yep. She said 200.
Yeah. It's 450 troops.
Wow.
And they're primarily in an anti-cavalry brigade called Harold's Rot. So they are a named brigade, which means that they are at least held in some level of esteem by the prince and the army.
But probably not Harold.
Though they haven't been paid in a very long time. So I did some money calculations, but I want to save that for the main episode. And I have an idea of that this is the episode where you will finally have to appoint a general or secretary of the treasure. And I think I might end up railroading you a little bit into that, because I don't want to just deliver these numbers to you. I want you to have someone in charge of it. With that, you guys finish the day. The morning. Florn said, "I think we won." And Despo, the deal was struck with Despo, and she left town to head back to the siege camp as well to collect her troops. You've got Bobby still eating breakfast. You've got Dreed Cleaman in there eating breakfast.
Yeah, Bobby was awful quiet.
Yeah, Bobby was awful quiet in there. And you've got Felipe Madamba, who you didn't send away. And Yvonne is sort of cleaning up, and you have a town outside that's feeling a little bit. I don't know exactly how to say the character of the mob is. I mean, on the one hand, they got what they wanted, Crispin left, but on the other hand, what they really wanted was blood, and they didn't get that. So I'm going to let you decide how you want to spend the rest of this day. And like I said, I have some ideas in mind, but maybe you want to finish eating breakfast. I don't know.
I would like to remind everybody that there are merchants at the south end of town. 3 wagons,
Yep.
right? Is that what you said?
3 wagons worth. And Bobby said they're his very best from Breentown.
Right.
So
if we want to raid the coffers and go shopping, excellent podcasting. The most interesting podcasting.
It's the most interesting podcast. I think that once you do some maths on your money, you may not feel as excited about raiding the coffers. And
that's fair, considering the deal that we just walked into with Despo, who then immediately was like, "Yeah, you made a terrible deal, but this is our deal."
She's like, "Now it's done."
Well, she also told us 200 men, and then all of a sudden it's 450. So there might be grounds to renegotiate this whole thing.
Exactly.
But she's got to show up with them first, which Prince Adair may not let her do.
That's true. That's true.
There's a lot of question marks there. So I say, let's go crazy.
Okay. All right.
Let's get wild.
I was about to get wild, and then I was like, "Oh, this isn't Schnobik's money."
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, Schnobik has 0 claim to any of these funds.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. It is now the money in the purse of Plethoris is now split in half.
Yes.
Not 3 ways.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember how much you have in the purse of Plethoris, but it's not
currently
Unlimited.
Yeah, it's
right.
unlimited. It was.
I've
it was
already-
he thinks unlimited.
I think I've already discovered that it wasn't unlimited, but
yeah.
it's 8,100 gold.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're well on your way. All right.
Yeah, and
All right.
I can give I'll give Filnir some wham
Ooh.
whenever
All right.
whenever he needs it.
Well, Dreed
It's
is in
okay.
there.
My
and-
lady gives me all I could require.
It's true. Those gems on his blade are super expensive, and each one a second level spell, I believe.
Great.
Yeah. So Dreed is just like scarfing this stuff down, and Florn, he's still hyped up on adrenaline, and he pats you on the back, Filnir, and he says, "Man, you thought I could do it, right?"
I had faith in you, my boy.
Well, I think the vampire. I think the vampire did a little bit of a wiener block on me.
It seems that way. I'm always inclined to try not to get involved into fights that are not my own, if I can help it. So I meant to be a spectator for that. I apologize that it was not resolved to your satisfaction. However, maybe this is satisfying in some way.
Well, I tell you what, my scouts told me that there's a little over 4,000 troops around the town of Lakeshire, and Filnir, I just got a little greedy. I thought we could have them all.
I would not go that far.
Well, if I become the general of the Adaran army, that's what we got.
And that does not outrank the prince, does it now?
Well, I guess not. What did Yvonne make in there? What were you guys eating?
We had a few eggs, some rashers of
sounds
bacon,
Oh,
a morning biscuit.
oh my goodness! Was it the kind she cooked in the iron pot? So it was like thick and buttery on the bottom of it, like a big crust, or did she just put it in the brick oven?
It was the brick oven, but there was a little bit of gravy that she allowed us to spread. It was nice. I will not argue. There may be some leftovers, in fact, since everybody kind of abruptly got up and
I'm
left.
gonna go get some.
Yes, come join us. Let's head back in. Ionis, Schnobik, would you care to finish Ionis, would you care to finish breakfast?
Yes, perhaps in a moment. I'm looking around. Are the people staring at us?
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
They're looking at you. They don't quite understand. Like, the prince just left, and he left his horse, right? Like he walked out of town, and is continuing to walk out of town. Like, you can't see him anymore, but he's just walked out.
they're still somewhat close by, but I'll say it loud enough for everyone to hear.
Good people of Lakenhearth, I have stood here and defended you as I said I would. But now I'd like to hear from you. What is it that you wanted from this conflict?
We just want our hunting lands back. Yeah, we want our chickens to be safe. No more stealing from the army. No more having the army come steal from us.
So independence from Adair.
Well, as long as we don't have to fight for it.
I am sorry, but that is foolish. Now I have managed to get us out of this particular situation without conflict, but there will be conflict if independence is truly what you seek. But we cannot do this if we are divided, if we do not know what it is that we all want. So I entreat you, any who wish to join me, come, tell me what it is that we need for this town, and maybe we can come up with a plan together for what we need to do for the future.
He wants to know, what are you fighting for?
So there's some murmurs, and then you see a few familiar faces from the crowd who are being sort of ushered up, and you see, I don't know, you've met Davin, the head of the agricultural co-op.
Yeah, I'm sure I've met pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, And so like you have Davin, the head of the agricultural co-op, and the hunters say talk to Yvonne, and she's in charge of the hunters co-op now, and they say just figure it out with Florin. We stand with Florin. We stand with Florin. No more conscription against our will, though.
All right. If that is what you want, then that is what I shall work for.
Personally, don't know, don't care. I'm just along for the ride.
Yes, well, thank
Every
you,
war
Schnobik.
must end.
I'm going to make sure I'm on the winning side.
So Davin and Yvonne are at the table already, and you've got Dreed eating there, and Felipe is still there, Bobby's there. Really the only person you're missing is Galwenia and Percy, who seem to be long gone at this point.
So she just, without knowing what happened, she just left.
She told you she was leaving, and she is gone. And coming down the stairs from the rooms up above is a face that you haven't seen or heard from in a while. You see Vera Cloudsack, and she is descending the stairs, and she says, "Very impressive, wizard. I think my husband couldn't have done it any better than you."
Well, that is saying a lot. I do thank you. Have you spoken to him?
I definitely have spoken with him.
How does he fare? How is he?
And she looks up the stairs, and she does the come hither motion, and you see descending the stairs is Waverly Cloudsack.
Jesus Christ.
As soon as you mentioned her, I was like, oh, fuck, he's here.
Yeah. And
Waverly Cloudsack.
Ionis Silhavind, do not get too excited. I am not really here. And he walks down the stairs, and he says, I will sit with you. I am in a cave a little over 150 miles to the south currently.
I do not understand. Your wife and child are obviously safe here. Why do you not just come here yourself?
I would very much like to speak to you all on that matter as soon as possible, and it seems now might be as good a time as any.
Yes, well, please.
May I join the table?
Please. And I give a very knowing, I told you so look to Filnir.
I see that you have found your brother. I am very sorry I didn't tell you where he was when you first conscripted. My deepest apologies to you. That was not part of the agreement that I made with your father.
I accept your apology. I do understand that there were plots within plots when it came to you and my father. So
I never liked the man. I'll tell you that much to be true. Your mother, though, she is a saint, and she is destined to rule all of the Gilbrain. I don't really have anything to say about it now. Come, let us break bread, or let you break bread. I have an offer for you and your town.
All right. Well, please. Yvonne, if you could provide food for our newcomers.
Okay. And she looks around. She says, "I think I should be at this meeting, though. Ionis, I'll have my boy do it."
That
And
is just fine.
child goes and begins to cook things up, and she takes a seat right at the head of the table, and right where you were about to sit. And she says, she motions to her right hand side and says, "You sit here, please, Ionis."
All right.
Gentlemen of Lakenhearth, this is Yvonne speaking. we seem to be the focal point of the Adaran army now, in a way that Florin said we would not be for many months to come. I believe it is time that we consolidate our power, figure out what we have to work with, and come up with a realistic, practical plan for preserving our independence in the midst of this chaos that is running through the Brine. And, Davin, nods his approval. He says, yes, well, our lands are being threatened from Brine from Adair. Even gnomes are making their way from the southern mountains. We need to stand up and say, here are our lands. These are what we will defend and nothing more. And Florin says, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, man. And Yvonne says, well, I'm a little concerned because I thought we had enough troops to control our small corner of the world, but now I understand we have made a deal to bring Adaran spearmen here. You should know this town only has 2,000 gold saved up for contingencies. We do not have the gold to pay for your war, Ionis Silhavind.
That I understand. Any gold that I am trying to spend on armies or on the future of this town is gold that I and my compatriots are trying to gather and have gathered.
Yeah, Florence speaks. Yeah, man, we got like 500,000 gold somewhere hidden in this town. So don't even worry about it, Yvonne. Just Florin, that's very nice. I don't believe you for 1 second that we have 500,000 gold. The Prince of Adair doesn't have 500,000 gold he could pull together in a moment's notice. I don't think this small village has it. Well, it's some high number. And the head of the agricultural co-op, Davin, says, yes, well, Yvonne, why don't you know? You were the keeper of coin for Lakenhearth. Why don't I know how much we have, then, Ionis?
To be quite honest, I have kept that information among the people that I trust and that have proven trustworthy to me.
Well, we are now on the chopping block. Let's say you have 4,000 gold. Well, you just promised to pay 3,000 gold to 450 spearmen plus 200, 2 gold a week to each person. She just sort of, you see her doing the math in her head. She says, 900 gold a week? And what will they do? So if you have 4,000 gold, then we have 1 week of spearmen before they get hungry and angry that they have not been paid. Inviting foreign fighters into our town puts us at risk much more than it does you. You are noble. Hold on, Yvonne. Ionis has done nothing wrong to us. He and this party and Abel and Filnir, they've been nothing but good to us. They've saved us multiple times. Remember Crispin, Florin. He also seemed like a very positive influence on our town in the very beginning. And look where it got us there. All right.
May I interject?
Well, yes, of course.
We have yet to see if Despo will return with 200 or 400 troops or however many it is. I know a deal was struck, but there is a chance that Prince Adair will stand in the way of her returning with all of those soldiers. We also may be able to not stay in town for very long. I think we could make plans to take them and leave Lakenhearth fairly quickly.
So you'll hire 450 troops away from the Adaran Prince, and then you'll walk away from our town with those troops right when he finds out?
You're not asking us to not keep them here. We also may split.
I'm asking for assurances that when Prince Adair shows up, that we will be well defended by troops that are loyal to us.
Are you going to fight with Prince Adair? You did not fight with him when he walked in last time.
We were not ready, and we had just been taken over by Slod.
2 Slod is a takeover. That speaks volumes
Was it
about
not?
the town.
Was it not? We watched the king of the free Brine Valley run away.
All right, I'm going to stop you here. There are things happening in this valley that you couldn't even fathom. Now, my compatriots and I have gone on to meet some of these threats. When we leave this town, we come back and the town is in trouble. Therefore, I thought it would be prudent to have soldiers to defend the town, soldiers that I have paid, soldiers who have not been paid by Prince Adair, soldiers who I thought, half of which are even from Lakenhearth.
Some might be.
Now, I cannot be everywhere at once. Gods know I've tried my best, but the truth is that I have things to do. Fjellner has things to do. And when we have those things to do, you need to be defended. Yes or no?
Yes. And
I have tried to do everything in my power to make sure that this town thrives and survives. So far, I've gotten you a mine. So far, I have gotten you independence. And all I've been met with is a lot of blather, blah, 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 blah.
I am at a loss here. Is Ionis not your sovereign?
is he our sovereign? I thought we were the free Brine Valley.
Well,
Free of the traditional noble oligarchy.
is that what you thought? Without this noble oligarchy, as you call it, you're a pebble about to be crushed between boulders. I completely misread the situation here. Apparently, I thought you had sworn allegiance to my brother. Clearly, this is some stopping over place for you. What exactly are you king of?
Now, hold on there, vampire brother. We love Ionis here. He has kept this town together. Yvonne, you can admit it. He's kept this town together. We would have been trampled if it weren't for him and Abel and Fjellner, and also you, Schnobik. I mean, I watched what you did with those Slotty, and the Kishi. You have helped us. You have saved us.
This very morning, were it not for my brother, you would be under the bloody reign of Crispin the Decent again.
We just want to make sure that we're not.
There's no such thing as a leaderless town. It's only asking for someone else to come in and be the leader.
Waverly Cloudsack, when he hears this, starts to giggle, and it's that super uncomfortable, inappropriate giggling you've heard him do before. It's not easy, is it, Ionis? It's not easy. May I interject? And full disclosure to everyone at the table, I am 350 miles away in a cave.
Your math seems.
I'm not sure
curious.
if that's Tom's usual number changing or if that's Waverly.
What did I say? 150?
Yes.
150. I know where he is. I don't know how far he is. He's just on the outskirts of the Gilbrain Wilds. I don't have a solve everything solution, but just listening to what's happening here, Lady Yvonne, what is it that you would actually want? What kind of assurances would you want? Well, I think as Master of Coin of Lakenhearth, I ought to be made Master of Coin of the Free Brine Valley. Oh, that seems very reasonable. And what might you do in that role? I would count the money and make sure that what comes in and what goes out adds up, so that we don't have a situation where we have hungry soldiers wanting to take their pay from our homes and our town centers. Oh, that seems very reasonable. And what is it that you want, Ionis, from this town?
I want the town to be safe. I want it to be a shining example of what a free society can be.
Interesting. And would you want someone being here while you're away who all he wants to do is live in peace with his family and have a protected, safe place to live as well, who, while he may not be to your standards as a wizard, he certainly has done magical things around the Brine?
And I assume that someone is yourself.
It is me. It is I, Waverly Cloudsack, once general of the Hark army of the Brine. I wish to settle here with all of you fine people. Let me tell you what I can offer. I can cast spells which raise stone walls in an instant. I myself built a tower far to the east of here. I made the tower invisible. Now, why would I make the tower invisible? Well, I didn't want my enemies to know that I could see them coming, that I had a magical tower. But here, wouldn't we want to project that strength? I could make it visible. All I want is to not be asked to go into foreign lands and kill people. This is all that I ask. In exchange, I will move here. I will build a home with my lovely wife Vera, finish raising our 2 children, which Iona saved from slavery. I will give you safety. I will give you my understanding as a general. But more than that, I can give you these 2 things. And he holds his hands out. Now, obviously, they're not really there, but you see that he's holding a scroll, and he unrolls the scroll, and it is a teleportation circle. And give me an Arcana check, Ionis.
All right, Arcana.
And
First
then a
roll
history
of the
check.
day.
DC 15 Arcana, and then a DC 15 history check.
Arcana 26.
Okay, perfect.
And then
History?
History 12. Yeah.
He rolls up the scroll. So what you recognize is all the runes that were on there. It was not on your scroll. It's not on your Griggly scroll that you have, your Nimrod Tolkien scroll.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, in your mind, you're sort of like going over the runes quickly, but you're already getting them wrong.
Shit.
You're already sort of like messing them up in your mind. He says, gentlemen, this is the teleportation scroll. This is the scroll that can lead you to the teleportation circle inside the Gnome's Gap. There is a teleportation circle exactly outside of Griggly's hut where he lives. This would be a gift to you. Also this, and he puts a lock of hair on the table, and he says, this is a lock of Griggly's hair from when he was an elf. I have used it to scry on him at will. The things that I have learned have changed my very understanding of life itself. And I want no part of what comes next. I give you this, and I give you this.
Let's say that I'm entertaining your offer. I need assurances from you. The last time I saw you, you were in charge of a major military force in the Brine Valley.
Yes.
And when that force was defeated, you took off and did not try to regroup. I do not understand.
Yes. I went to the center of the world, searching for answers, and what I got was a lock of Griggly's hair and this scroll with the runes to this teleportation circle. In those days, I still thought any of this mattered. The spoiler alert is, it doesn't. I just want to be with my family. And there's no place safe anywhere. I was looking for someplace safe to go with them. The children are happy here. Vera is happy here. I hope Robert Hark dies a slow, painful death, as I hope Prince Adair dies a slow, painful death, as I'm sure we all will.
I'm going to put a pin in that. But you are heard.
Wonderful. And Yvonne says, actually, he's not wrong. I think I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to play a part in this. It's terrible to have all the decisions being made hundreds of miles away.
Yvonne, if you indeed want to know more about the finances and be a bigger part in all of this, I am willing to allow that. I, of course, have to discuss with my inner circle. But that is, I agree, that is not a bad idea.
And the agricultural co-op. Davin, you have been getting attacked by gnomes. Will you empower Florin to take the troops that you are hiring now to go and secure the borderlands between our farms and the woodland creatures?
We discussed a wall.
Well, here's my update. We're getting stoned out like crazy. Like a bat out of a bat hell cave. And we're stacking it up over there. It's happening. My calculations are telling me in 5 months, we will have a 30-foot high foundation for a castle, for a barrack, and some kind of promenade, like city town square. Now, it's just the beginning, obviously. We're also building floodgates around the lakeside. We don't. You said it's gonna rise 20 feet, but 30 feet would be enough to keep us safe, even with the tide changes. Progress is going well. Now we are building the town half a mile up north because we have there's a small hill there that the gnome told me was already above ground when the lake was higher already. So we're building there. That's going to be the new Lakenhearth. Florence says that. No. This is the Lakenhearth. We have to build this time. Boy, you can't build on mud. There's a rock. There's a hill. That's what we're building. And they all look to you, Ionis.
Well, they are trying to. We're trying to hedge our bets, just in case things cannot be stopped.
And I will even teach you how to cast stone wall creation spells. I notice perhaps the two of us together, we could really speed this thing along if we have to.
I still don't understand. You take his money. You look to his decisions. Yet he is not your sovereign.
Well, he promised us a new way.
Ah.
I mean, right, Ionis? It's a new way.
Forgive my brother. My plans for the Gilbrain are to make sure that this island stops fighting, is united, and can finally have peace, and can stand together against threats that are outside of our borders. Now, the only way to do that is to every now and then take charge to make sure that the vision is seen. But my plans are eventually to go back to Monterre.
But leave your gold.
The gold that is made here will be the gold that is made here.
And it will stay here.
I believe my brother means to be half a king. Also, I would strongly recommend against bringing the wizard here. I've gotten used to being the gloomiest one in this town.
Yes, thank you, Schnobik. Thank you. Filnir,
Yes, Iris.
they're making plans on building on top a hill in case the area does flood. I believe this is something that you thought prudent, yes?
I think it would be wise. Perhaps it will not be the favorite of every townsperson to have to relocate, but should the water start to rise, having a place we can go that's only half a mile away seems much more convenient to keep the town intact.
I would agree. Dreed,
It's the only way. It's the only way.
Dreed, this wall you spoke of, how far out does it go?
Well, we're planning to have enough food in here for 10,000 souls. So that's our plan. Wall's going to stretch out. Now, you said you're building the city here, so we took that to heart. So that wall is going to be 15, 20 feet high at first, and it's going to stretch around an area that's 7,000 acres, 8,000 acres, enough for hunting grounds, farm grounds, fresh water. The mine will be inside of it, of course, and then the stronghold will be up on the hill.
Yvonne, you are one that knows finances. How does this sound to you? Earn my trust now.
Well, okay. She gets her quill out and she begins to doing some figures. She says, in round numbers, how much do you have right now?
We're looking at 40,000 gold.
Okay. All right. So she's figuring a little bit, and then she closes her eyes a little bit. She's thinking. She's okay. All right. Let's assume 450 men come from the army. So, but we owe them 3,000 gold up front. Then we're going to owe them 900 gold per week going forward. Campaign season is in 22 weeks, a little over 5 months. That's when all the militias around here are going to be looking for work. Florin has already talked to most of the settlements around us, and we have at least 500 men who would normally join the highest paid Hark or Adair during the campaign season, like you all did, and they require payment up front, and then a little something, a little kicker at the end of it. So we're looking at 22 weeks, 1,400 gold, because the dwarves cost us 200 to 300 gold every single week. All right, 1,400. That's 30,800 gold to get us to campaign season. It's going to cost us 5,000 gold to hire those conscripts up front, because they get 10 gold for the season and then 4 gold each at the end of the season. It's 12 weeks in the season. That means we're looking at needing 55,000 gold by the end of the campaign season.
All right. Why are we talking about a campaign season?
Well, because we'll suddenly be outnumbered if we aren't able to hire the militiamen who would normally go to Adair and Hark. And Florence says, yeah, even our own hunters, that's the time they make their money. All of them. Everybody goes for campaign. We're a mercenary town, Ionis.
I understand, but our goal is to end the fighting.
Well, so if you can end the fighting before the campaign season, all the better.
Yes. End all wars. Think of the money you'll save, brother.
All right.
But you said you have 40,000, and you said you have 8,000 gold also. Well, that's 48,000 gold. But we're only lacking 6,000 gold to get us through the end of summer.
Then we need more.
Well, then we'll need more. But I mean, nobody fights in the fall. Nobody fights during the harvest season.
Waverly Cloudsack,
Yes.
time for you to earn my trust.
Okay.
Where's the nearest dragon?
Well, the only one that I know about is in the Gilbrain Wilds. And she is a bit of a celebrity among the elves.
Celebrity among the elves.
But you should talk to Griggly before you do any killing of dragons.
Duly noted. All right, so what you're telling me is I have 22 weeks to sort this all out.
Well, yes, I would say you have 22 weeks of being totally fine. And then in the 23rd week, you will run out of money.
Let us make sure the world ends before that.
Ionis, let us not forget that the troops that Despo has promised us have not been paid in full. So catastrophe may not lie on the brink of when we run out of money, should we run out of money. Seems there is some reprieve in terms of the timing. If I'm
Yes,
not
and
mistaken.
we have enough to pay all of the militiamen at the beginning of the season. And so at the very least, we'd have them, and we'd have the army, and assuming we're going out and taking some land over, I mean, at least that much. Oglethorpe is just that way. Plenty of riches there.
This will sound crude, but what percentage of militiamen that sign up at the beginning of the season receive their rewards at the end of the season? If you understand.
I understand. Depends on the year. This year, not many. In fact, this town, most of our men walked away from their bonus just a few weeks away from receiving it
Why would they do that?
in order to come home.
I see.
While they're talking, I'm going to slip away and talk to Felipe Madamba.
Okay. He's been very quiet throughout this whole thing, listening intently.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to cut to that right now, though, if you don't want to.
So, Ionis, I gotta ask you. You told me what you're doing going down to the Gilbrain Wilds, and I support that, and I'm ready to go as well. My question is, do you think you might be able to get a little something extra from them? You know, you trade something good and get a little gold, maybe. I mean, look, we know that they are fighting all the time. Different things, different people. Maybe you can go. Maybe you can offer up some of the troops. Maybe some of these regulars can go. A small number of them can go and campaign on behalf of the elves. Maybe.
I will take that under advisement. And remind me to tell you more about what's going on.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, at this very moment, we have a lot to think about. Are we at a good stopping point if I put Yvonne in charge of our finances?
King Silverwind. This is Bobby.
That's not my name.
King Silhavind.
Thank you.
Apologies.
Come on, Bobby.
I am sorry. I have just returned from Monterre, and you would not believe the number of people who are calling them silver windbags. No offense, Ionis intended. But there's
I'm beginning
always
to like this fellow.
there's always the coffers of the League of Merchants from Adair City. So don't count us out. I could probably pull together 40 or 50,000 gold for you in a short order.
In exchange for?
Usury. 20% due at the end of the campaign season. But with an army like you were talking about building, I imagine you will be able to conquer much, take many spoils, bring the booty home. I, of course, would want to be the exclusive quartermaster for your adventures. But other than that, no strings attached. 20% and exclusive quartermastering.
Those rates are outrageous, Bobby.
It's not outrageous. This is the going rate. You are a small hamlet wanting to be a big city town army.
Yes,
It's
and
a
should
risk.
we provide a big city town army?
Well, then maybe terms could be changed.
I'm well aware that as a town grows into a city, that the underbelly grows with it. However, it is important that these things evolve within themselves. I'm hesitant to allow access from an outside party.
The money is on the table. Not literally, but figuratively. When you are ready to speak, I will hopefully be able to honor these very, very generous terms still.
Duly noted. As for the rest of you, anything else we should speak of, or can we bring this to an end?
I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right. I am coming with you. Is that correct? To the Gilbrain Wilds.
We shall speak about this later.
I have a bag packed, just so you know.
Understood.
Glad you are prepared.
And
Give us-
Waverly he giggles again. And he looks straight into Filnir's eyes and he says, "Do not try to return your priest before speaking to Griggly. His words will blow your mind apart.
That sounds like a threat.
I cannot even describe the things that I have heard there. But once you hear them, you'll never see the world again the same way."
The way you phrase things is curious. But noted.
But I very much want to make this deal, obviously. So I can say no more.
We shall take it under advisement. We will be in touch.
I'll be here for 22 more hours.
And we know how to reach you.
Yes. And he says, "Does anyone know magic to make a lady fail her intelligence checks?"
No, I may be able to help with that, but that is a time for another conversation. Or rather, that is a conversation for another time.
But if you have that within your ability, may I please call Vera down here? The issue
Not
is
now.
The issue is, as soon as she sees through the illusion, I will become incorporeal for her.
I have a small potion that will dye her hair blonde.
Ew.
Waverly kind of looks at you now. He says, "All of it?"
Enough for a significant blow to her intelligence checks.
God damn it. God damn it.
That's just
It's
terrible.
so slimy.
That's not what I thought I was going.
No.
That's exactly, that's why I was like, ew, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Same with the blonde jokes.
Come on,
Oh,
Dad.
man,
All
that's
dads
terrible.
love a good blonde joke.
Especially our blonde listeners, right?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
Listen,
What are you going to do?
I will just say the best blonde joke of all time was Dolly Parton talking about why she doesn't get offended at dumb blonde jokes. It's because she knows she's not dumb and she knows she's not blonde. She's been telling that joke for 50 years, and I still
It
get a little
still- it
chuckle every
still
time I hear it.
slaps.
Yeah, it still slaps.
I would like to have a conversation with Filnir and Schnobik. I realize Schnobik is now gone, and so I just have one with
Well,
Filnir.
Felipe's still hanging out there, right?
Yeah, we're
Is he
gonna go to
hanging out?
We're all
Schnobik
still
and
around there.
Felipe.
So
Yeah.
I'm just sidebarring with him.
Do you want to have that
Yes.
conversation now? As if it was simultaneous action?
Gnome, why do you sit here? As soon as my brother turns his attention to you, I imagine your life is forfeit.
I do you think so?
Of course, you opened the gates of his town to an invading army.
Well, but one way to see it is that I have brought everyone together in this
And
conference.
you stake your life on the fact that he will see it that way.
I You are a vampire. Are you very old?
Yes.
So do you remember when I was running across the Brine Valley with my Owlwood raiders? All feared us.
Of course. Why do you think I have come to speak to you? Clearly, you are a power, and yet you sit here, head in hands at a table, cowed.
Well, I made a deal with the one that used to travel with Ionis, and once he died, it felt fairly certain that he would not be honoring the bargain that I made with Abel the Snowflower. Abel aimed to see me sit upon the throne of the Owlwood Palace once again, and my mighty druid army and rangers would bring our bloody hell on all who trampled in our forest again.
Well, my brother is not one for bloody hell or apparently for keeping bargains.
Maybe I ought to just see if I can do it without him.
You are much reduced, gnome. You couldn't even take this town with all the help you had.
Well, I wasn't trying to take it. I wasn't trying to take it. I was worried that my brother was that your brother was going to bring the Adaran army upon its buildings and burn out these kind people. These are very fine people. Very fine people.
Yes, I've heard it said there are fine people on both sides.
That one stings a little bit.
Yeah. I know this is not, I can tell by your questioning that you do not agree with your brother's freedom from aristocracy, but that was the dream before, and that remains the dream.
I merely find it curious that he is surrounded by people begging for his leadership, and he refuses to take what is being offered. It is... He is always given these things, and yet never seems to want them.
Well, that's not the place I've ever found myself in. I've had to take every single thing I've ever wanted and earned.
I can see we share a kinship, Felipe.
Filnir stands up from the table, and you guys are still sitting at the table, right? Just having sort of a sidebar privately.
Yeah, we're speaking quietly at the end of the table.
Felipe, I told you earlier we should have a conversation separately. Honor me in that request.
I'm talking to him, Ore Bearer.
Are you? Oh.
Yes. Please.
Perhaps I will come and join you in the windmill.
This is a conversation between A and B. Kindly see your way out of it.
Well, Felipe, come have a chat with me before you make any decisions.
Jesus
John
Christ.
just pursed his lip and shaking his
John's
head.
like, this is...
Felipe, we are men of action. We are not men of words. I will be brief. I require my brother to leave this town journey with me to the Gilbrain with what force he can muster. If you can employ whatever influence, power you have to trade in achieving that end and assisting us, I will do what is within my power to make him hold up his end of your bargain.
That is very kind.
It is not kind. It gets me what I want and may get you what you want.
Very well. And he holds his hand out to shake on it with you.
I do not shake hands with gnomes. And I get up and leave.
I mean, dick. What a dick.
What a dick.
Fuck.
Listen, man.
I just had to
fucking
get it out. I just had to get it out.
Scourge of the small folk, baby.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Jesus. All right.
All right. Table's breaking up. People are getting up. People are going about heading out.
Okay. What needs to happen with Yvonne?
We can hand wave this a little bit. You just need to give her access to the money. She needs to count it. She needs to know where it is in case you all die.
Sure.
So
Just need
she
to
can
set
get
up
her
her
hands
email
on it.
address and a security passcode.
That's
and
right. That's right.
Authorized user account on the app. Just social
Where
security
is
numbers.
the Bitcoin?
Right.
I can't get access to the share drive, Ionis.
Yeah.
All the files are on the share drive, and I can't see them.
So I'd like to, as we're getting up, I'd like to hand wave that and just I'm talking to her over on the side while Fjolnir is talking to Schnobik and Felipe.
That sounds good.
I give her that information, and then
She says, "I'll give you a weekly accounting, and let you know if anything happens that is, if I have to ever spend more than 20% from what I expect, I'll be sure to get your permission."
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I look at her. I look at her dead in the eyes. I said, "This is the dream we've been fighting for. Our lives are literally in your hands."
Better mine than Florence.
I give her a very knowing nod. and I head toward Fjolnir. Fjolnir, I believe that the two of us have a lot to talk about.
Indeed.
And I would very much like to talk to Felipe.
I have asked for his company.
Aye, good.
Schnobik was reluctant to part with him. He will call upon us shortly, I am sure.
Felipe Madamba.
Yes. Human.
I know that you are having a conversation with my brother. I would very much like to have a conversation with you soon.
And
Okay.
I make eye contact with Felipe, and I sort of mouth conversation, and then flames coming up all over his body.
Jesus.
Why do siblings prattle on against each other like this? I just look at Felipe and I'm just like, I don't understand.
Wait, but are you trying to scare Felipe?
I mean, not trying to for any intent, just because he's a dick.
So I'm gonna have you roll either intimidation or intimidation is the right one.
Let's see here. Okay, I have a -1 to intimidation.
That's all right. Failure is gonna be more interesting probably anyway than a thing.
That's an 8.
8. Okay. I am gonna have him do a straight wisdom check. Does that seem right?
Intimidation's charisma usually, right? So
Well, his is he's intimidating him, but
right.
he's seeing through the intimidation, right? All right. And
Insight.
Yeah, insight, I guess.
Mhm.
Insight?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, no, you don't want that. I'm just gonna do a straight wisdom.
Yeah, I'm druid, man.
You don't want that.
He
so,
sees,
you know,
he
he
sees right
can-
through Schnobik's childish games.
he sees through Schnobik's childish games, but I will tell you, he is still scared. Like you didn't make him more scared than he already was.
I was merely reminding him of Ionis's penchant for setting things on fire.
Ionis, should I have my daggers with me when we speak?
But I don't see why you would need those. I will be unarmed.
Very well.
I make a little sound.
All right.
Sorry, just stoking the fire here.
Yes, thank you, Schnobik. Thank you. I will be calling for you.
Felipe, okay. All right. So not right now.
No,
Not
you may.
right now. What were you saying, Phil?
Of
No, sorry.
course, no fire can warm the chill of my bones. I did not expect a response for that. I was merely musing.
Felipe, we will see you soon. And Vilner's going to walk out the door.
I believe I will go to the forest, brood for a bit.
Vilnir, should I send Vera to the windmill?
For what purpose?
This is Waverly. I have seen you. Do things to people to make them fumble. Can you do something to make someone fumble intelligently?
Hexer.
Listen,
Hexer
I cannot
intelligence.
guarantee results. I can make it somewhat less likely that you will become incorporeal.
Perfect.
Let me ask you a question first. How dumb is your wife to start with?
Not dumb at all.
Well,
Unfortunately,
that may work
she was the
against her.
brains of the Hark army.
How long do you need?
I'll be here for 23 more hours.
Where is she?
Vera. She comes down.
I will hex her.
Okay. Yes.
I give her disadvantage on intelligence checks.
Craziest use of hex I've ever heard.
And it's 5th level, so it works for 24 hours.
Awesome. Oh, thank you.
As long as I keep concentrating, so we'll see how long it lasts.
No.
Thank you.
And I'll look at Waverly and I'll be like, "Don't waste your time."
Okay. Upstairs, my dear. Upstairs.
I believe that cloud sack will be empty forthwith.
God. Oh, God.
Wow.
Poor John. I wish everyone could see his face.
I've
right
had the
now.
perfect amount of beer for that drink. For that joke. I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay. I'm walking back to the windmill with Vilnir.
All right.
Who's meanwhile concentrating on this fucking hex for no good
Oh my
reason.
God. On the way to the windmill, I'll begin conversing with him in my brain.
Okay.
Oh, Vilnir, woo, that was something else.
Yes, there's quite a lot happening.
I hope I held it together.
Did you take good notes, Vilnir?
I think I blacked out for a second there. Either way, I, of course, want to talk about the giant elephant in the room, which is Waverly Cloudsack. I do not believe we necessarily need his scroll, although I do not like having him as a question mark out in the world. I would like him somewhere where I could keep an eye on him. And honestly, I may try to talk to him later, but I've been wondering about a plan that's been brewing in my mind.
Do tell.
You are able to cast Dream, are you not?
I am.
I'm wondering if Waverly knows Jesus of Waterdeep. And I've been reading up on it a bit, but I'm not exactly sure how it works. Can you use Waverly as a conduit to cast a dream on someone?
Let me think for a moment. I can use the spell to target anyone I know of on the same plane. But it is the target that would have the dream. What is it that you wish to accomplish?
Well, the thought is, if you can give him a dream of a rising threat from the Gilbrane wilds, perhaps that would allow us to point him toward Havis Corvair. Maybe even give him a nightmare and make him lose a little sleep.
Well, as it works, I can make myself the messenger in the dream, or anyone that I can put my hands upon. And then I can project that dream onto anyone that is known to me. However, if you wish to impart the dream upon Jesus of Waterdeep through Waverly Cloudsack, I would have to put my hands upon Waverly Cloudsack. And I'm not sure that his corporeal representation that was here tonight would suffice.
Right. That is the only reason I'm considering actually having him come here and stay with us.
I see.
That's pretty cool.
Assume he would have to be in agreement.
He would have to be willing, but that is us extending an olive branch to him if he will then do the same for us.
If I'm not currently extending an olive branch to him, I don't know what I'm doing.
That is very true. You are doing him a favor. But perhaps because you have done this, maybe he is now willing to do us a favor.
Perhaps. We can hope.
Again, I would like to get him off the chessboard. I do not know how much we can trust him, but he could be a very powerful ally.
Would that he were in our corner already.
Well, that's the first thought. Beyond that, what are your thoughts on our current trajectory?
Well, I think our first destination should be the Owlwood. I know it sets us in the wrong direction for the Gilbrane Wild, but perhaps it will endear Felipe to our cause. And if we are to go to the Gilbrane with a representation and ideally some force, I think it would be a step in the right direction, despite it being a movement in the wrong direction. Sometimes you have to go east to go west. You must go backward to go forward.
I do think I understand what you're saying, and as you were saying before, we probably could get to the Owlwood rather quickly.
Oh, yes, we could go there almost immediately. And I think, what was it that Waverly showed you to get to Grigley? Can I have a look at the scroll, the floor scroll of Donatus?
You're talking about the scroll that I already have.
Yeah,
I just hand it to you.
and I'll look through and I'll be like, did he? Perhaps this is too obvious, but it does spell Grigley immediately if we look for it. Does that look like what he showed you? Or were you not able to decipher what he showed us?
I tried. It was moving a little too fast, but I do see now what you're saying. That it says Grigley right there.
It would seem perhaps too obvious, and yet it's right there.
Well, I will have to confer with my notes on that, but you're probably right. Either way, we could take a look at what he has if we want to move forward with him indeed coming to Lakenhearth. We don't have to accept it.
Well, I think we get Felipe to the Owlwood. We speak with Goliath. I am concerned what will happen when Prince Adair decides to return to Lakenhearth.
Well,
how quickly will he return?
I do not know. This spell lasts 24 hours, but if he gets back to his siege encampment, then perhaps he gets confused, or it just gets taken up with his attack on Lakeshire and maybe forgets about us for a little while. I know that I've only bought us a little bit of time, but I thought maybe that gave us a little time to prepare. I do not know if we can get to Despo and her spearmen. Maybe I could have a portal sent directly. I could have Flawn make one in the middle of town, and I could use the scroll to bring us straight back here from where they are. I could bring them here quickly.
If Despo is willing, and we could make good on the price we've agreed to pay, I think expediting everything is in our interest.
All right. Well, I will send out Saber and have him direct us on which way they've gone. Did Despo leave, Tom? Despo left, yeah?
Yeah, Despo left.
Yeah.
She said she was going right back to the camp.
Yeah. All right. So, yes, you do not have any concerns about my aunt.
I have all sorts of concerns, but I have so many I do not know which ones to qualify for you. I do not know what the relationship is between you, considering the relationship with your uncle. I do not know how she works against your uncle when your uncle seems to be so fond of her. But these are things that we must explore or perhaps gamble upon.
Well, my big fear is I do not know what's happening with him either, but if we take Felipe, is he then, if he's building forces and she's building forces, are they at odds with one another?
I suppose it would be our duty to find some common ground between the two of them.
Yes.
I know she resides in the Owlwood, but I do not know if she calls it home, or if it is merely a convenient, temporary hiding place.
Filnir, I hear you speaking of things that I know.
It's your sword.
Yes, Kekaset. Tell me what you know.
Lady Goliath expects Felipe to come, and she expects him to be me. She is sitting on many troops, and her plan was always to strike out and take over Brine Town, while her husband was being supplied by them.
To undermine him.
To undermine him and to force him to abdicate to her.
Is that even enough? Does he not have more resources than Breentown? That is perhaps too big a question.
All I know is that she said his entire coffers were currently being stored in Brine Town.
Well then, give me a moment, Gigaset, and I will tell Ionis what she told me.
Okay.
In summary.
Wait. The entirety of the Adaran coffers are in Brine Town?
If Kegaset is knowledgeable about the subject and forthcoming, then yes.
I'm sorry. I'm feeling broke. Should we not take that for ourselves?
So you wish to betray the both of them? She has an army.
These are people I do not know very well.
Your aunt.
My thoughts
Of blood.
My thoughts have always been to, I'll be completely honest with you, my thoughts have always been to find a way to bankrupt or let Adair fizzle out.
Well, here's my question to you, Ionis. Does your aunt have common cause with you? Can you find common cause with your aunt against your uncle? Would she bring herself to our side, to your side?
I do not know the Silhavine women.
She's family, Ionis. You know her.
That sure.
Is she your mother's kin?
She is my mother's sister.
And what of that relationship between your aunt and your mother?
I do believe they are fond of one another. But my sister was given to Adair, which was not particularly an ally of Monterre, and Monterre allied with Hawk. I mean, that Schnobik and I were kept out of a lot of things. It would be better to talk with her and find out what's going on. All I'm saying is, when you get to politics on my level, things get murky.
That's Ionis's excuse for never paying attention to what was going on around him and his family.
It's all very murky.
Ionis, the trick that Waverley was doing.
I believe Percy had something to do with it.
Ionis, are you able to replicate the trick that Waverley did? Are you able to make yourself appear and speak and have a conversation from a distance?
I am not.
Then I suppose we shall have to do it the old-fashioned way. Perhaps you and I, with Felipe, head to the Owlwood to have a conversation with your aunt.
And Schnobik as well, yes?
Yes, of course. I don't
Should
think we can
probably-
leave him here well. That
I
would
would
not
rather-
that would not end well, would it?
It would not. I would rather keep both eyes on that one.
Yes,
All
indeed. Though perhaps he can put on some appearances.
Yes, I need to remind him of his lineage. All right. If we leave again, should we not focus on Despo first?
I suppose it depends on how long we're speaking to Goliath. Goliath. How would you say her name? Goliath?
Goliath.
Juliet Gouliat.
Yeah,
if
you
we
guys
are
can go there
if we are
fast.
coming as a diplomatic party without an army behind us, so as not to be a threat to your aunt, simply as a family reunion, perhaps.
No,
I
you
think-
you misunderstand. I need something here to protect
Yes.
Lakenhearth.
Oh, of course, of course.
Last time we left, things happened.
Well, we know the source of those things. But I understand what you're saying. Should you wish to speak to Despo and have her troops and her forces here, if she is in fact making good on the compact, then yes, she should be here. Flawn, I guess, should command them. Or Despo, perhaps, should be in defense of the town, though I do not know how that will go if she's confronted by Prince Adair. And we should make a trip to the Owlwood. This is a bit sticky, is it not?
It is. It is. Okay. Felipe Madamba. Let's have him here.
All right.
Let's do sending. Felipe! Now!
And he's knocking on the door. He has been outside this whole time.
Flawn is king. No, open the door.
Before you get too mad at me, let me explain myself. And he spends an inordinately long time telling you all the things that he told Schnobik and how he just wanted to make sure the town was safe and how he just wanted to make sure.
Felipe, enough.
Yeah,
We
okay,
understand why you did what you did. As I told you earlier, we do not like the decision you made, but it is a decision you made, and we understand why you made it. Now, on to more pressing matters. The Owlwood.
Yes. My homeland.
It is your home. It is where you have forces. You have an army, perhaps?
I believe I have what it takes to take my army back. Yes. Kegaset ran it into the ground, but from what I understand, there's still many troops there, loyal to her and to me.
Yes. Well,
Don't we understand that to exactly not be the case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You understand that to not to be exactly the case. Although he is an icon. Like,
Sure.
you know. It's a bit like MacArthur.
Felipe,
Who?
it has been 300
Just kidding.
years since you have walked this plane. And while Kegaset has embodied your persona, you and Kegaset are, and I think you would agree, not much alike.
It's true. She's hot-headed and rash.
Yes, and not interested in helping at all.
Yes. Exactly. I'm so glad you see. I'm so glad you understand, Filner. I
Well-
was so worried coming in here. Now I can see that we are still on good terms.
We have a contact that we would like to speak to in the Owlwood, who apparently has some forces there. However, I have come to believe that the contact there will not be expecting your personality in your body. How well do you think you could behave like Kegaset?
I mean, it has been 300 years since I spoke to her.
Well, not for you.
Well, it's true, but has she changed? She spent 300 years changing. I can tell you
Perhaps.
I'm very different from how I was when I was 29, and now I'm just 120 in my heart, in my mind. But who knows how many changes I would have gone through from 120 to 420.
I suppose that is fair.
But I can do it.
Well, then I think I would like you to accompany us to the Owlwood.
And you knew me as her as me.
Yes, I knew Felipe, but it was Kegaset.
So perhaps on the way you can fill me in with little things that she had said to you, turns of phrase, mannerisms,
Yes, indeed.
that sort of thing.
I think between Ionis and myself, we can certainly give you some idea, and perhaps Kegaset herself will chime into my ear, give me some advice to relay.
Very good. And he looks around the room and he says, I'm Kegaset. I'm a wizard.
You know what? No, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. It's not. It was good. It was good. Just not quite there.
Well, at least we have many days to walk before we arrive in the Owlwood.
Indeed. Felipe,
Yes.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You betrayed us.
I stayed true to myself, but I am very sorry. Especially seeing what you did to those men without even spilling a bit of blood. I should have stayed here and I should have fought the Slotty in your stead. I do apologize for that and for any of the guards who were killed that I perhaps could have prevented.
I do appreciate that. I know that you and Abel had an accord. I know you do not think much of me. But I did put my trust in you, and I did leave this town in order to investigate a new threat, feeling better that you were here, defending it.
If you are taking me to the Owlwood now, giving me this chance. And he gets down on one knee, and he says, I will pledge myself to you as Abel asked, and I will not disappoint you again.
I thank you. Rise, Felipe.
He does.
And then I hold out my hand.
Says, I don't shake hands with humans. No.
He reaches out and shakes your hand.
Okay. All right. So, not very long after this, a bird arrives with a message, and Florn comes down and says,
Can I show up in the meantime?
yes, of course.
Roll a stealth check, -2.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. You
See
got
how your
-2 on your
entrance is.
stealth check. Yeah, because they know your tricks.
25.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
This is so stupid.
God, where did you come from? God damn it. Schnobik, can you
Well,
stop doing that?
Now that we have solved the sticky problem of the seamen of the Western Shores, when do we depart?
Well, Schnobik, we are going to make a trek to the Owlwood.
What?
And then we will head to the Gilbrine Wilds, but we have to secure our
They
forces.
are in opposite directions, brother.
But when we were with your vampires in the light well, how fast did we get here to Lakenhearth?
Yes.
Have
yes.
faith in me, brother.
It seems like every other problem you have is a higher priority than the deal you have struck with my lady.
Schnobik, it's been a day.
It's been a very
Most.
long day.
2 at the most. We are working on it. Literally working on it right now.
By going the opposite direction and treating with gnomes.
As I said before, sometimes you must go east to go west. You must go backward to go forward.
What kind of soothsayer nonsense is he spouting?
Come with us and find out.
If you think I'm letting you out of my sight, Ore-bearer, you're insane.
Ah. Then we go to the Owlwood, Ionis. Do you hear that? He's coming with us.
Fantastic.
And over the course of the next few hours, birds start to arrive with messages that Despo is marching her troops along the lakefront to Lakeshire. 6 hours in, they arrive, and Yvonne quickly pays Despo the money, and they begin to set up camp over on the hill where Dreed and his men are building the new castle.
No,
Well
you
out of
can't
town.
camp where they're building. Nobody sleeps
Just
at the
out.
construction site.
It's just next to it, next to the construction site, on the same hill, but not on the construction site.
Maybe we should call the town Newcastle.
That's right, yeah. And you've been preparing Felipe for his the role of his life. In the middle of your windmill, a puff of smoke appears, and Waverly Cloudsack stands there, and he says, "It is truly I, arrived from the cave, not 735 miles to the south of you."
Can I stop
Not-
thinking about your problem then?
Oh, yes. Well, no, actually, let's keep doing it.
But are
Um,
you not corporeal? And I will literally poke him.
Yeah, he's corporeal
yes,
now.
but man can always make use of his wife failing intelligence check.
Absolutely.
I respect you
He says-
slightly less.
my sense of distance, size, and scale is all askew, and it's helpful if hers is also. And and he pulls from his robe a book, and he says, "My spell book, Master Wizard." And he pulls out the scroll with the runes on it. He says, "The runes to Grigley's teleportation circle." And then he pulls out a bag, a brown bag, and it's a leather, but it has tiny little leather sacks inside of it. And he opens it up and he pulls out a bag that says Filnir, and he hands it to you, Ionis. And he pulls out a bag that says Abel, and he hands it to you. And he pulls out a bag that says Ionis, and he hands it to you. And then finally he pulls out a glass box that is completely sealed, and it has golden locks in it, and he says, "And these are Grigley's.
And the ones
You can spy on him with them. You can teleport to him. These are perhaps the only real hairs in all of the Gelbrain. Guard them with your life." And he hands it all to you, and he says, "And now, half-elf, please hold your concentration."
How
And
much
he-
longer must I do this, Waverly?
Turns 11 minutes.
Okay.
Wait. The tavern is just there. 7 minutes.
You have half an hour.
Thank you.
these with our names on them. What are these?
When you joined the army, my men had your hair clipped and your toenails clipped, and I have been able to spy on you using my scrying orbs. Even once you removed the tattoos that I placed on your eyelids. If you do not know the divination magics, I'm happy to teach you. I am out of this business.
I put everything down on the floor. I stand back up. I hold my hand out. Waverly, you have my trust.
And he shakes your hand and says, "God help me, you have mine. One last thing.
Yes?
Willem the Wet is real." And he turns around and wheels around and leaves the room.
And we all have very confused
Is
looks on our faces.
real.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure there was a doubt there.
Was that I don't understand. All right. Always been a strange one, that Waverly.
And thus ends episode 66 of Every War Must End, the Dungeon Dads podcast. Fellas, you got a little army? You got a wizard?
A
You got
wizard
some
who's out of the
walls?
business.
It was out of the business. Gave me the
Well-
spell book. Hell yes.
And we're going the wrong direction.
Well, we're going to need at least like 48 hours for Ionis to even read that spell book, so we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I'll need. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll be up here.
Sorry, hold the plans.
I'm sorry, Waverly. I can't bend over to pick it up. My boner is so large.
Let me tell you how I'm going to handle this. The spells that
His boner?
Waverly has prepared. Wait, his boner? No, I'm not going to handle his boner. Good God. The way I'm going to handle this, every spell in the player's handbook, not Xanathar's and Tasha's, but every spell in the player's handbook is in here in some form or other. Okay?
Okay. Damn.
He can only cast the spells which he had prepared beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
He is giving up his spell book, but he is still a powerful wizard, and he can still cast
what
life
Catherine knows.
transference.
Yeah,
Blight.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
dominate person, dance macabre,
Yeah.
Bigby's hand. He can still cast all these things: steel wind strike, teleportation circle. But the way I'm handling his wizard book for you is every single spell in the player's handbook is in this thing. You are going to have to do some serious research and some serious like arcana checks and all of that. And you're going to double the amount of time to transcribe them that you would normally take for any of these things.
Mhm.
The thing that you were going to learn about Waverly is that he is a fucking crazy person. And his writing, he has written his entire spell book in narrative. It is written like a novel. It is not a normal wizard spell book.
Holy shit.
So you have to get deep in this thing, and it is not even his spell book. This is a spell book that was given to him by the wizard who trained him years and years and years ago.
Okay.
So he also doesn't know all of these spells that are in this spell book.
Okay.
So that's narratively how it is. He was casting Project Image, which is a 7th level spell, which is in there, which he can help you with, and he also can cast. He can help you learn easily scrying as well. Those are 2 spells that he can help you learn quickly, and teleportation circle if you want to learn that.
If he's helping me, can that be as if I was a divination wizard?
No, not a divination wizard, but it will double the normal time. So I mean, it's half the normal time. So it will basically be half if he's helping you with something,
Right.
double if he's not helping you.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I meant. Like, half,
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
half the time and half the gold, or just half the time.
Half the time, not half the gold.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You'll still have to choose wisely.
Sure.
It's still
of
going
course,
to be
of course.
expensive.
Well,
for you.
and
Yeah.
I was going to do that anyway. But that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I could tell that was an excellent show of trust.
Yeah.
On his part. So
Yeah, because he had to get the spell book back.
yeah. And you know, wizard to wizard, like it's one of those things like that a wizard understands fully. Oh yes. No, you're on my
Yeah.
side. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
must be nice. It
Mm.
must be nice to
Yeah,
have
it's nice.
Waverly on your side.
we shall see.
We
Yeah.
shall see. And with that, come to the bonus episode, everybody, and find out what else we're
gonna
going to
be
talk
good.
about. Woo.
It's going to be good.
Hit us up on Patreon. Patreon.com/DungeonDads. We'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.
Yeah, toodaloo, everybody.
Toodaloo.